Just north of Hollywood North, home of Thompson Rivers University and an expanding film industry, is the city of Kamloops. And what happens when you take a bunch of young people and surround them with the potential excitement of working in film? You end up with a bunch of young, hopeful filmmakers. My name's Todd Sullivan.
And I'm Carlos Sia. There are plenty of 20, 30, and even 40-something people here who are actively working in the film industry, sometimes working as extras on Hollywood sets or production assistants on Movies of the Week, or maybe even putting together a small crew of locals and shooting their own short film. It seems like wherever you go, you're bumping into someone with a connection to the film industry.
They're your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers. Heck, they might even be you. And we're going to talk to some of them about their work right now, just north of Hollywood North.
My name's KORA. I've been in the film industry since grade 10.
My name is CHRISSY. I go professionally by Chrissy Marie. I have worked in the film industry as an actor. I have done directing. I've also worked in the wardrobe department. I've worked as a production assistant many a moon ago.
Yeah, so my name is KORA VANDERLIP. I'm primarily a writer, director, cinematographer, producer. That's my background, and that's what I've done.
KELSEY Bell, and I've done like a lot of little things.
My name is Christo Vutev, and I am primarily a cinematographer, occasionally director and writer, but I usually deal with the camera stuff. Although, as of recently, I am a writer-producer at CFJC TV, even though I still deal with the other stuff as well.
I've worked in big budget movies, indie films, TV commercials, YouTube videos, funny videos with my son, kind of all around the industry.
Yeah, I'm kind of just like a little bit of a jack of all trades in film. My focus is more so on directing and acting. I also have wrote a couple of original screenplays.
I started off in the film industry as a makeup artist. So I went to school in Vancouver, John Casablancas Institute. Graduated after 11 months. I learned that it's an overly saturated industry. Like, everybody's looking for work. Everybody's like working for free. It was really tough.
I was probably 9 when I kind of ventured into film for the first time. I'd always loved story. I'd always written things. I'd been in theater, that sort of thing. But somehow I found my way to film, into a film workshop in Toronto when I was 9. And that was kind of it. From then on, I was like, I'm gonna do film. That's the way that I wanna tell stories. And that's how it's been since.
I love movies, just like everyone else does, and it always felt like the most complete escape from whatever reality was at the time that I could get. I wanted to create a similar thing for others, or just to emulate what I saw on screen. The first projects that I did were just with my little brother, and I think the first film that there's no title, it's just like 6-year-old me and my little brother torment our cat on camera and just like pretend he's talking. Push, like, yeah.
Just down the road, I learned that makeup isn't really for me. I kind of prefer the whole picture, and I like, there's just so much to film that I just want to explore. So costumes, set deck, makeup, and acting.
Well, I started as a background actor, and then I kind of moved up to locations as a production assistant. And recently I've been kind of moving up the ladder to assistant director. I think any position within the film industry is such an experience, and there's room for so much growth within every department. If Hollywood came here more often, I would definitely work as an assistant director.
Officially as like crew, I'd say the first film I worked on was an MOW that came to Kamloops last April, I believe it was. It was called Just Clicked at the time when we were filming, and now it's Love and Where to Find It. And so that was my first like real experience working professionally as crew, as part of like a feature-length production. Before that, I had just mostly worked as like an extra.
I've always liked the older films. I'm from the 80s, so anything prior to CGI is really inspiring to me because I myself love to work with my hands. I like building props and just creating a world with material and props and stuff. I think it's really cool to use a blank room and just completely transform it into like whatever, an airport or like a zoo or something. Films like Beetlejuice, Dick Tracy, E.T. even. I think just the very theatrical films with cool costumes and set and just, very, I like the idea of just having a crazy imagination and make it into a film. Why not? I wonder what kind of drugs Tim Burton does, because that film was crazy.
I will say, okay, so when it comes to the film industry, when we ended up here, so we moved here to Westwold, what was it now, like 2008, 2009, something around there. Soon after that, we got connected, or I somehow got connected through this interest again in film with indie filmmakers in Vernon, actually. And that became my first experience on a film set. That wasn't just me running around with a camera in the forest, which is, what I would kind of been doing. That was the first time that I was kind of like, okay, given a role, I was like PAing and like, doing some like second assistant camera work and that sort of thing. And that was my first experience being a part of a crew and being part of a film set. That kind of introduced me to the collaboration aspect of film that I hadn't necessarily had yet because it was just me. Production assistant is what a PA is. They're essentially, at least in my perspective, they're essentially what keeps the set afloat because they do everything that is not a specific role on set. They're basically covering, anything from, watching traffic, dealing with bystanders, holding things for people, they do anything that is basically an odd job that doesn't fit into specific areas. So you're basically just being asked to do a bunch of stuff on set.
The first film that I wasn't like working on as a high up role was in 2018, a film shot in Westwold titled Beyond the Woods. And I was a grip for the first time. I'd never been on a big, proper set before. And since then I've been on four sets as a grip. And I'm not the person that you would associate with the stereotype of grip. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're usually a lot more muscular than me. They have a lot more facial hair and they chain smoke a lot more cigarettes. I'm kind of this, scrawny guy, and I'm trying to carry 2 combo stands on my back as I go, trying to keep up with the big boys. But it was a fun learning experience.
Very first film I worked on was in grade 12, and it was an art class, and we had to make plasticine figurines, and we had to do a stop motion film. It was probably like 30 seconds long, but that was my first movie. What was it was called Good Idea, Bad Idea. So I had these figurines. I had like a Tonka truck. I had a dollhouse. So I had like a whole movie set already. It was so bad. Like it was so tacky, but it was so fun to make. So it was like, good idea, driving with your seatbelt on. Bad idea, driving over your best friend.
The most important thing I've learned being in the film industry is that it's such a collaborative art form that can be experienced by so many people, more so than music. Not everybody listens to heavy metal or country music, but everybody goes to the movies, and there's always a balance of genre, and there's always room to create more.
The last film that I got to work on was The Friendship Game, and that was really fun because it's a horror film. And it got to film out in like Padova. We were there for a couple of days, and they did some like really cool stuff in the abandoned buildings there. And again, I was part of the wardrobe department. I got to work as truck costumer, and then I also helped out as set supervisor for a couple of days. And that was a really fun set. It was a really, really fantastic crew, really great director and first AD, and my boss, the costume designer, Matea, like she was absolutely fantastic to learn from.
Most recent, I was producing a short film in Vancouver for a program called Crazy Eights, which is kind of a film competition in some ways, where you go through rounds and 6 teams are chosen to make a film in 8 days, essentially. So 3 days of production, 5 days of post-production. So we just wrapped that at the end of February, beginning of March, and that's the last thing I did.
Well, about a year ago, I worked on a film called Alice. Spin on Alice in Wonderland. It's a horror film. I really liked working on it for a few reasons. The team was amazing. Everybody worked really well together. We're all here to help. But it was the fact that I was able to wear multiple hats. And, you know, I was predominantly hired for set deck. But then I did makeup, and then I was a demon, and then I did wardrobe, all in one movie. And I love that. I like small projects because of that. You know, you really learn a lot. You're not just, you know, boxed in one category. Like on a big film set, it's like you have one job and that's it. Small films is like, you really get to learn a lot and play around.
Since then, I'm kind of glad that I'm not working in the mainstream film industry, because I find it's very segmented. Everyone has their one role. Like as a grip, I never touched the camera. All I did was just, I was a swing. I was grip electric, so all I did was deal with the electrical and non-electrical components of lighting. I don't think I would want to, do that forever. I like to be involved in most things. And I know at the end of the day, having specialization makes the final product that much better, because everyone's so good at their one job that they do it so well. I think I could sacrifice a little bit of quality just to have the fun of being more involved with the entirety of the production.
I love film and being part of it. As a kid growing up, I grew up on films, and I did more than watch them. I studied them. I studied the camera angles and why the music was the way it was on certain scenes. And when you get to work on a film and be part of that and bring out all of these emotions that we get to experience watching these movies, like tears and anger and joy, it's so important for the human aspect to have this amazing medium within our town.
It's a cutthroat industry. It really is. And it always will be. It's just how it is. But if you really just dedicate yourself and just know that what you're doing is good, like just do your best every day. It's like any job, like you're gonna run into people you don't like, or days that are really hard, and the days are really hard and really long most of the time. But for me, the most important aspect of learning about filmmaking is just like, I guess, endurance and perseverance. Like we're all a little bit of like thriving on chaos, I guess. I think you have to be able to thrive on chaos to work in the film industry and like low-key love it a little bit, even on the days where you like would rather just like run away screaming.
Filmmaking, just the opportunity to be creative, to do something that hits on so many art forms. It's a visual form, it's an audio form. You deal with color, with wardrobe, with emotion, with acting. There's so many parts of it, so many art forms that boil down into this film, which is why there's so many people working on big movies, because they're all artists. They're all artists, painting their one stroke on that canvas to make it the best thing they could possibly be. I enjoy how holistic of an art form it is, and how much capacity it has to deliver messages, to deliver emotion. As for the film industry, I enjoy in town actually how Kamloops feels as a film industry right now. It feels like it's still budding. There's still, like, people are so nice to each other. They're very willing to collaborate. It's not like you don't see that brittleness of a long established, very competitive film industry. Like even in the commercial space, I have friends who freelance, and they make all their, they make their living wage from making corporate videos from shooting weddings. And even among them, they work with each other all the time. It's not like bidding on contracts. There's enough work for people. It's a much more friendly environment than, say, a large, well-established, very competitive, tooth and nail, I'm going to get this contract, I'm going to underbid you, that kind of deal.
What I enjoy about the film industry the most, I guess, like, just the process. I love being on set. I love making something with people, whatever that looks like. No matter how many times I've been on set, it's magic to me. It's, all these people coming together, doing what they do, every role, every single person fitting together like a puzzle. That's, my favorite thing.
One of my I worked with a gentleman who just reached out to me. I didn't know him while I was at TRU, and he had this idea for it was a script that was composed of a few different short stories, and I really liked that. I thought his writer's voice was very unique, and I said, why don't we just start with one of these? And we did. We met a few times. We had some organizational difficulties, but we ended up shooting this thing called The Economist. It was one of the vignettes, and we had Todd Sullivan as our primary actor. I had my friend Paolo on sound, and my friend Bungani, who I had just met, who was the writer and director of this thing. And yeah, I really felt like we were, doing something professional, and not necessarily, but telling something emotional. Just, a man who was struggling in the ennui of a 9-to-5 and doing something that he didn't enjoy just because he didn't feel like he could have done what he loved to do. And at the same time, that also works as like a warning piece to me that I should try to do what I love and not end up somewhere just slaving away for money, and only enjoying the parts of my life where I'm not at work.
The most incredible experiences of my life have been on film sets where people are working collaboratively and you become kind of a family. That is, I think, the most important thing I've learned about working in the film industry, but film in general when it comes to being on set, is collaboration.
I think what I personally love about the film industry the most is just having this big group of people that all comes together, and we're all stressed, we're all tired, we're on each other's nerves most of the day for silly things, but we're also just having the most fun ever that we've ever had in our lives, and creating these stories and working with all these different great actors and other crew, and just really putting stories together, and then getting to watch that final product at the end when it comes out months later or whatever, and you just see all your hard work on that screen and every little department that went into all these tiny little things. I think that's my absolute favorite. It's just the people I get to work with and just knowing that we're all creating this amazing story that other people are going to get to see and hopefully enjoy.
The most recent film, like, and I should use the word loosely, but I don't, because it is a movie, is a last-minute submission to Kiss Fest that I did with my wife at home, literally days before the deadline, that we called Secret Shopper, where we don't know, some stuff starts going missing while she's cooking. She has no idea what's going on. She thinks someone's in the house. She goes out in the backyard and looking for someone, worried that she's gonna get murdered, and she's a raccoon who had just stolen a bunch of her stuff as she was cooking. It's stupid, but it was funny. It got a good laugh at the festival. I think people enjoyed it.
Film festivals are a great way to bring the community together and really make a mark on Kamloops. I think Kamloops is starting to get more and more recognized because of our film industry.
Local film fests are integral to local filmmakers. You have thousands of film festivals all around North America that promote local filmmaking. There's horror film festivals, there's film festivals that promote shooting a film in 7 days. It challenges the people that are doing it, and it brings out that excitement. And then when you get to go to a premiere of your movie that's shown on a big screen, there's nothing like it. It's amazing. I've watched a couple of my own movies on the big screen, and it's so exciting.
Small film festivals like the one in Kamloops have greatly influenced my journey. I've been submitting to Kiss Fest, for instance, which is a short film competition festival here, basically since I arrived here in Kamloops. So that was, probably like 10 years ago, something like that, 12 years ago, maybe now. And it's always been like an incredibly important part of the year. It's always been like an anchor point, and like you get to see people and like share your love of film with people. I think film festivals are incredible for that reason, no matter what they look like, but especially in small towns, because you build that arts community, you build those connections, you build relationships with people who are passionate about film, which is really important in small communities.
Small community film festivals for me, unfortunately, I haven't been lucky enough to enter any of them yet. I do have a short film that is in production. It's just not ready yet, but I am really hoping to enter it into some of the smaller film festivals. But I think as a whole, they're really great. Like, I think, especially with smaller communities where film is harder and it's not like Vancouver, Toronto, or those areas. Like, I think small film festivals really are the backbone because they get them to that smaller audience or just a broader audience in general. And it provides so much support for local film communities and people who love film, who maybe don't even work in it, but they want to come see those and support everybody. And so I think without smaller film festivals, like, we wouldn't really get the same audience.
As an independent creator, small independent film festivals are some of the most important, aspects of my life. Kiss Fest here in town is seriously like one of the most important parts of my year, even though I somehow managed to forget about it right up until it's announced. And this year it was announced kind of late. And so I didn't have a submission in until 12 a.m. on the, end of the deadline day. So that's not great, but at the same time, there's a lot of creativity that needs to happen if you're doing something last minute. So that's also kind of fun, just forcing yourself into that. I got to make something now. So he did that last minute submission that I talked about. That was done very, very late. But I couldn't see myself just passing up Kiss Fest, not for even a year. Even though it was comparatively very disappointing in the turnout, how many people attended Kiss Fest this year, and they had considerably fewer films than they usually do. I hope it comes back in a big way, because it's the best place to just see what people are doing. And just seeing everyone's, like where they're at compared to how they were last year. And it's not really about the competition. It's just sharing your creative output with like-minded people. It's a great feeling.
I will always work in the film industry, whether it be on a smaller scale with my son creating these funny little TikTok videos or YouTube videos, or joining forces with these giant Hollywood productions, or working with indie filmmakers within Kamloops. Yes, I will always work in the film industry because it's so awesome.
For a long time, I really had really low self-esteem, building that up as of lately, and with this new mindset that I have, I'm going for it. I'm so excited to just go for it and try new things, meet new people, make some cool shit.
I certainly will continue to work in the film industry as best I can. I think the only thing that has ever really mattered to me is that I keep doing film, and however that looks like, that's how it is. I think there are many roads to take. I think there is no box to fit in when it comes to being a filmmaker. And when it comes to the film industry, I think, we're expanding slowly what that looks like and how people can fit into that, but create their own paths and create their own roads. And that's what I'm really interested in. So I definitely intend on being in the film industry, however that looks, and growing, hopefully, with that.
I would absolutely love to work in the film industry still. The why is always different to me, because sometimes I'm like, literally, why am I doing this? Because filmmaking's hard. Like, it seems very glamorous from the outside when you're not working in it, and then once you get into it, you realize just how much chaos goes into it and how much hard work from every single person that walks onto that set, from crafty to people like all the production assistants and wardrobe and camera and actors, and just literally every single department plays such a key role. And so it does get chaotic and it does get really stressful, and sometimes the stress is a lot. It's long hours for sure, but there's just something so continuously magical about filmmaking that I love it so much, and I don't think it's ever anything I could ever truly turn away from, because I just really love creating those stories with a big group of people that I end up loving to death and getting to just enjoy that crazy, chaotic ride with them.
I fully intend to work in film in some way or other, hopefully for the rest of my life. I've kind of recently gone to the dark side of broadcast because of consistent salaries and health benefits. And because, you don't get dental unless you pay for your own dental if you're in gig work, like, in the film industry, the real life thing. So I don't know how long I'll stay there, but I always want to be shooting and creating, hopefully for the rest of my foreseeable future. Whether or not I stay in the broadcast space, I rather doubt it, but for now it's a good place for me to be.
My advice for young aspiring filmmakers who want to get their foot in the door is just go on Facebook, search for other people that are making these smaller productions and join up with them. You may not get paid, but you're going to learn so much more, and you'll just climb the ladder. If you're passionate about film, you'll just continue to climb and climb and climb. May not be as fast as others, but just join forces with other like-minded people and make these like cheesy horror movies, or make a romantic comedy with your friends. Just get out there and do it.
I'd say keep an open mind, because there are so many paths you can take. The film industry is a giant world, and if you don't like being the grip guy, try something else. There are so many different things to do. I'd say learn as many little things as you can from each department, and don't be a dick.
Just tell your stories, do it. You know, like there's no perfect opportunity, there's no right or wrong, there isn't a box to fit into. You know, connect with people. There are many people out there who are very willing to mentor and want to have you be a part of their projects and be teachers and mentors for you. So take that in, take those opportunities, and don't listen to the no's from people and people who maybe don't get what you're trying to do. Just keep going. Be true to yourself.
My advice to anyone wanting to work in the film industry would be drink a lot of coffee. It's very important. You will not survive without it. But no, truly, just to work in the film industry or to get into the film industry, again, it's hard. It's a really hard industry. The hours are long. Sometimes, like, it is hard to get through the days and stuff like that because you just get exhausted. It's long days, like, after another. But to get into the film industry, my best advice would be to just, like, really know that is what you want to do and commit, and know that even through all the chaos and the tears and the screaming and the stress and the yelling at each other, because it all comes with it, it's all worth it in the end to just really work and network and just create all these amazing stories that you know you're going to end up loving in the end. Even if you had the tiniest little part, even if you were there for a day, to work in the film industry, really just keep powering through and just know that you're going to do just fine.
For someone who's just starting, I would say start learning as much as you can and start failing. And I know that sounds bad, but it's much better to make those mistakes at a low level, like start making your own microfilms, start collaborating with small productions and start making those mistakes, because the more mistakes you make on your own projects, the fewer mistakes you'll make on the big projects, because you'll get those out of your system. You'll learn how to deal with certain situations, because on set, you don't know if something's going to work out necessarily. You make a choice and in the editing room you see, oh, this sucks. It's good. It's better to do that on your 1-minute microfilm than on a production with a bunch of people, which is why I don't think people should try to start with a large project. Even though you have this idea, it's amazing and you know it'll be amazing, just like hold off. Do some little projects first, get to that thing later, and you'll blow it out of the park.
Just get excited and let's make Kamloops a great place to make films. On lower levels and higher levels, let's just do it.
I think we as Kamloops residents were really lucky to live in a town that it's not too small, it's not too big. We can wrap our arms around the community, and it's like we're like the big fish in the little pond, I think, at this point. And yeah, I can't see anything but good things coming our way.
I mean, I'd say when it comes to, the film industry particularly, what is important is bringing yourself to it. That's what I believe, your authentic self. Your stories are worth telling because it's you, and you don't have to fit into any other vision for what you should be. So I feel like when you're entering into the film industry, just be yourself, have your values, stand by your values, and you will find people who believe in the same thing and want to be a part of that.
I want to stay here because it gives me the opportunity to be creative as a job. I don't have to just do something for money and then just do this as a hobby, even though the hobby productions that I've done as well have been some of the most fun. If I can, earn a living being creative, those juices that flow in my head, they make me feel like I'm doing something good, like doing something important, more so than, pushing paper, more so than just dealing with clients. I think when I'm creating, that's when I feel the most me. That's when I feel the most like I'm providing something good for the world. if I can do that for the rest of my life, I'd be happy. I seem to like screams. This is a total tangent. I seem to love the comedy of someone just screaming on camera, and I don't know why I find it so funny, but I include it all the time in everything that I do. I did like client projects for some stuff for Joy Factory a while ago. It was some CG work. It was 12 little vignettes, and 3 of the vignettes it just ended with someone just screaming and then cut, cut to black. I don't know why I find it so funny. That's how our short ended, with just screaming. The raccoon screams, my wife screams, cut to black, titled.
See your stuff at the film fest.
Yeah, I really hope so too. I'm really hoping that I'll have a maybe mid-summer premiere. I'm just waiting on some post-production stuff to get finished, and then hopefully I'll have my own little horror film that I can show everybody.
One last thing, I don't know if it's been said or whatever, I would just give every artist an opportunity to say. So, like, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to say?
Donate to my movie.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the whole interview, Todd. This is it right here. This is what you get. This is what you get.
It's gonna be like delayed by.
You're not gonna get anything. You're editing through all this crap.